He's got notes.
I don't want to forget what I had to say. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for joining in our celebration with my wife and me. I'm sure that you will all agree that this has been a wonderful day, and one that we'll never forget. Can I first start by thanking my wife, as if it wasn't for her, it would be impossible for me to be standing here as a very proud father. Secondly, it's great to see so many familiar faces from the family and friends. I also know that we all have people who can't be here today. But wherever they are, I'm sure they're keeping an eye on us and celebrating with us in their own way. Now, I know years ago there's an old song that's called "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To." But I paid for this party and I'm going to cry if I want to. Now, I believe it's my duty to tell you all about the achievements and the good deeds that my daughter has done in the past for me and my wife. The moment Kayla was born was one of the best days of my life. I felt privileged to be the father to such a beautiful baby girl. She and her mother were everything to me. At that time in my life, that was the top of the world. Then she started growing up, learning to crawl, then walk, and talk. Within a blink of an eye, she could tie her own shoelaces and ride a bike. She went to school one morning, and the next thing I remember, we're buying her a prom dress. Fast forward several years later, and now we just bought her a wedding dress. When Kayla finished her education, she had more time trying to better herself in work and in her life. She's doing great in her job, and more obviously, in love. When I was giving her away today, I cannot deny I felt a loss. But when she reached the altar, I felt something else. And for a while I didn't know what it was, but then it dawned on me that the feeling that I had was joy and happiness, that I was giving my daughter away and that she was very happy, happier than I'd ever seen her before. I could stand up here all day and talk about my daughter, but we're going to have some fun tonight. We'll move this right along. So now I got to move on to Andrew. Andrew, he's a good young man. He's a hard worker. And by that I mean he can't sit still. Always thinking on how to make another dollar. Working more than one job, sometimes two at the same time. Andrew's a go-getter, and I like that in him. He's always there when I need his help, and he knows that I'm there for him. When I see my phone ring with his name showing on it, it usually means that he's looking for something, usually to borrow a tool, or help him out with something, or he's looking for advice. Advice is something I can give him, because I've been there and I've done this. There's a lot of times I'll give him advice. I can't see everybody with this on. And I can't read that. Should have brought my bifocals. But anyhow, there's times that Andrew will call me and I give him all the advice I can. Might not be what he wants to hear, but that's my advice. And he'll say to me, how do you know this? Or where'd you get these answers? And it's something that's been passed down to me. Two great men before me have given me the same advice. My father and my father-in-law, who I love very much. As I said, Andrew's a family man, and I know this because he loves his mother, brother, and sister, and will go out of his way for them. Now, for his father, Keith Robertson, who he dearly loved, passed away this past January. They were very close, and I'm sure he would have been proud of Andrew on this day today. But son-in-law, he is here. He's sitting right behind you. And I know you've done him proud. You've done me proud. Andrew came to me one day, back in May or June, and he asked me if he could marry Kayla. The first words that came out of my mouth was, "Why?" He looked at me, didn't know I was joking. But I was serious. So I gave him a little bit of advice. I'm going to give you some right now. And, you know, marriage is like a three-ring circus. You start out with an engagement ring. Next you move on to a wedding ring. Then after that, that's when all the suffering. And remember, for every action, there is an equal opposite reaction. So always remember that what you've got to say might come back to bite you. You know, giving my daughter away, I really don't like that sound of that phrase. To me, it sounds cheap. This is the first time I've ever had to pay something to give something away. In fact, Andrew should be paying me for taking her away. You know, a final word for advice for Andrew, and this is serious. It is true when they say a man's got to do what a man's got to do, but always remember, a woman's going to do what a woman wants to do.